Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Happy Who Gives a Shit Thursday. Cheers. So sometimes I'm not sure ever really what I'm going to talk about when I start this video. Sometimes. Today, someone else liked one of the posts that I posted before. I don't know when I posted it, but I post things all the time to give people inspiration, to help others figure shit out in their own lives, right? And this particular post has two options to live your life. The first one is, nobody gives a shit. What am I going to do? No one gives a shit. And the other one is, ooh, no one gives a shit. Ooh. You have two options every single day. And so that is what I'm talking about today, is not giving a shit. You can give your shits, your fucks, whatever you can get your whole bag of fucks and, give them out if you like, or you can keep them to yourself. So the difference is if nobody gives a shit and you feel down, you feel depressed, you feel like no one cares. I totally get it because I've been there. I've done it. And I lived there for most of my life, that nobody gave a shit. And I was like down and depressed and blah, blah, blah. Now, I live my life the other way. Nobody gives a shit. What can I get into? No one gives a shit? Oh, let me expand on whatever I can do for myself that also helps others. You know what I do? Crochet penises. Because no one gives a shit. And even if you do give a shit about what I'm doing, I don't give a shit. Do you see that smile? That's like genuine smile. Genuine smiling this morning. So cheers to genuine smiling this morning. Because no one gives a shit. And even if they do, they're not telling me. And even if they tell me, the ones that really give a shit, like last year, I had a whole bunch of people that were giving a shit about what I was doing. And they were angry. They were furious. What the fuck is she doing over there? Yeah, we give a shit. She shouldn't be doing that. Go do what you should be doing and give a shit about what you be doing. So I just didn't give a shit what they thought about me and what I was doing. Oh yeah, I'm fired up about it. Because it's fun. It's fun to switch your perspective. It's fun for me to realize I got two options. And we got two options every day. Either you're right or you're wrong. Period. And either instance, you're either right or you're wrong. Ooh, this coffee is great. Either you're right or you're wrong. Ooh, like this bottle of water is excellent tasting. Either you're right or you're wrong. And I can think it's tasting excellent, but someone else can think it tastes like shit. My coffee, someone else would say, ooh, that's ugh. In fact, my youngest daughter would say, oh my God, why does that coffee taste like shit? And I'm like, ooh, this tastes amazing. So I probably could use a warm up, some more creamer and some more cinnamon, but either way, it still tastes amazing. It's warm and it's good. So you have two options every single day. And every single day, you pick the option that you think fits best for you. And every single day, you can say, ooh, no one gives a shit. Now what am I going to do? Take it. Fucking roll with it. There ain't no one here, so I can be as loud as I want. Roll with it. Take it. Run with it. And realize that because no one gives a shit, you can go do whatever the fuck you want. And a lot of people could learn this. I would implore people to learn this. And yeah, there was many, 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 many years that I was depressed and down and because no one gave a shit. Guess who I had to give a shit about myself. Do you give a shit about others? Yeah, probably. Do you give a shit about them like you do for yourself? Probably. You probably give more shits to them than you do to yourself. whatever. Oh, geez, I need to stretch. I was so in it and I had so much energy right here that I had to like release it out, like, because it was like starting to ball up here, this energy. So I had to like stretch and release it. Stretch and release your shit. Give a shit about, that's the point, is giving a shit about yourself. Give a shit about yourself enough that you give yourself what you need for you. I know, it's a hard thing to do. I've been learning for quite a few years how to give a shit about myself more than I give a shit about others. Do I still give a shit about others? Yes. Do I give a shit about them to the point that I'm going to deteriorate myself to give more shits to them? No. I'm going to continue to give myself what I need because I feel like giving a shit about myself. Yeah, so Up and Atom. I know the kid hates it. The kid, I haven't used it in a while, but Up and Atom. She hates when I say Up and Atom. I don't know why she hates it. Just like, she goes, don't say it, Mom. No, Up and Atom, Buttercup. Up and Atom, get up and, give a shit about what you're doing in your own life. What are you doing in your life that you give shits about? I know, I'm totally fired up. Because I've also got icing on the brain today and making the covers for these things that I'm making. Yeah, there we go. So, give a shit about what you're doing for yourself. If you're not giving a shit about what you're doing for yourself, then you're deteriorating your own life to give to others. Don't deteriorate your own life to give to others. Give to yourself, and then if you got extra shits to give, go on, give them away. But give a shit about yourself first. And when you have little ones running around, I know my oldest daughter has got little ones running around, and she's like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to take care of myself and take care of them. You can take care of yourself by telling yourself good things, by telling yourself good things in the middle of doing stuff for others. You can do that. You can do a whole mind reset in the middle of doing for others. I didn't know how to do it before either, but that's how you do it. You can be selfish and think good thoughts, and selfless and do for others. Selfish, think good thoughts. Selfless, do for others. You can totally do it at the exact same freaking time. So if you feel like you can't stop giving a shit about others and you feel like people need to care about you. Look, I don't need people to care about me. You know who I need to care about me? Me. Is it a bonus when others care about me? Absolutely. But I need to care about me first. And when I'm dealing with that, like I deal with a kid and, when I pick her up from school and I bring her home and I'm totally all about her, but I'm also about me. Appreciate you, David. Cheers, man. Cheers. Coffee on a Thursday morning. Who gives a shit? Again, you can either take it and bring yourself down with it, or you can say, who gives a shit, and be all over the place. I am all over the place nowadays. Didn't used to be, but I am these days. And so like when I pick up the daughter from school, I'm totally telling myself good things, and I'm discussing with her what she wants for dinner, and I'm totally bringing her up, filling her with goodness and stuff, I hope, and life lessons that she hates, whatever. But that's what I do these days. In fact, my oldest daughter will call me, and she hasn't called me lately and said it, but my oldest daughter will call me and she'll be like, I need to talk to my mom, not a therapist. Sorry, kid. You got both now. If you don't want to talk to a therapist, don't call me, because I'm going to figure your shit out and tell you how to fix it so you're not complaining about it anymore. And that's the biggest thing, is to stop complaining about different things. I even just saw a post. I don't know how it happened, but apparently I'm a member of 574 Nosy Neighbors. I'm not fucking nosy, because you know what? I don't give a shit. But I saw a post last night on these Nosy Neighbors group, and it said, is this group just for people to bitch and moan and groan and complain? I was like, oh, I'm scrolling on by that one, and I didn't even go and read the comments or nothing. I was like, nope, I don't give a shit about that. So the whole video, this today, is all about whether you want to give a shit or not. Do you want to give a shit about others? Sure, you can. Do you want to give a shit about yourself? Absolutely. That's the thing you got to do. You are the human you've got to take care of for the rest of your life. And even if you have children, you have your own little tribe of humans. I have a tribe of humans running around out there. One's at school, the other 4 are off doing their own thing. I have a tribe of humans running around out there. They're not all here together, which is great. I love them so much, but also I got to get stuff done. So I'm grateful that they're all off doing their own thing. But when I think I just scrolled myself. Oh well, it happens. So just give a shit about yourself and give a shit about the things that you're doing for yourself. And again, if you have extra energy after you're done giving a shit about what you're doing, go ahead, give it away if you want. If you don't want, don't. You can save your energy for later or for something else that you want to do because you give a shit about what you're doing for yourself. Man, that was a lot. So, and I might go and repost that, thing that inspired me to talk about whether you want to give a shit or not, because you can be depressed and nobody gives a shit. Why doesn't anyone give a shit about me? Make yourself important. I don't give a fuck. Make yourself important. You are just as important as the tribe that you created. You are just as important as the employees or coworkers you work with. You are just as important as the company and the ownership and the people running the company. You are just as important as all of them people. So give a shit about yourself. And if no one gives a shit about you, that's okay. Because you can still give a shit about yourself. And if no one else gives a shit about you, spoiler alert, they leave you alone. So you can give a shit about yourself. Man, was that good. I like to treat people how I want to be treated. And that's left alone. So I can do my own thing and give a shit about myself. Yeah, it's fun for me. I'm a loner. I've always been a loner. And I've told my kids this many times. And it's not something that I'm proud of. But also, I never saw myself having children. And furthermore, I've never saw myself having so many children. And I do have a tribe out there. There's 5 of them roaming around. So, and I've let them know, I didn't see myself having children. I didn't want to have, when I was a teenager, I didn't want to have children because I didn't want to raise my children the way I was raised. I didn't want my children to go through what I went through. So I didn't want children at all. Turns out, the first 4 of my children were raised the exact same way that I was raised because I didn't know how to change it. And sometimes people come along to help you change your perspective. And then now the youngest one is being raised differently because Misty learned. And it took Misty a while to learn. And it took a lot of tears and crying and screaming and I hate yous and fuck offs and blah, blah. It took all of that for a couple of years to get Misty where she is now. Because Misty was resisting the change from being to happy-go-lucky. Guess who used to hate being bubbly? Me. I fucking hated it. And I hated other people being bubbly. You can hate people being bubbly. That's okay. Do something to help yourself be more bubbly. You may hate being bubbly, but it's because you're not used to it. Get up and do something different to help yourself be better for you. And it's not gigantic steps every day. You got a ladder. You got, a couple of rungs on this ladder and you got one rung. Take baby steps. You try to jump on those other ladder, you try to make huge leaps, you're not going to make it. You're going to fall and fail every time. Take your baby steps throughout whatever it is that you feel like you need to do for you. That was a lot. And I'm excited because it was total inspiration from the post that I saw this morning. So, the husband just walked in. So, find your things to feel grateful for on a Who Gives a Shit Thursday. You can have 2 different perspectives. I give a shit. The first one, nobody gives a shit, and now you're depressed because nobody gives a shit. The second one, no one gives a shit, now I can go do whatever the fuck I want and make myself happy. That's the one that I'm going with. So, and I'm grateful that that was my inspiration for my video this morning, because I think that it was a whole lot of great words. Yeah. Yeah. So, also be your own magic, find your own magic. Sometimes your own magic is in not giving a shit about what others think that what you're doing. Oh, well, you're doing all this. So who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Should I give a shit that you care about what I'm doing? I can. I don't have to. Sometimes your magic is in not giving a shit about their opinions about what you be doing. Also, be your own sunshine, because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. And I know I'm really like, today. That's okay. It's okay. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I'm lethargic. Sometimes I'm too full of energy, over full of energy. You see that? Today I'm over full of energy. I got a whole lot of extra stuff that's... So, be your own sunshine. Seriously, because again, tomorrow it really isn't promised to anyone. I know I say it, I'm repetitive, but it bears repeating to be repetitive in this stuff, because we need to all learn it. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. Nobody gives a shit. So go do what you want. And maybe that's what you need to find your own magic. So that's all I got. Everyone have a great, freaking amazing, who gives a shit Thursday. Misty